I was thinking passion doesn't necessarily equal anger, even though it's associated with high energy. And then you just said the word compassion, which is more in line with what we want. Compassion still includes the word passion.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the empathetic convo I had with Kate Galli in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now and go back and listen, or listen to this and go listen to that. It's kind of fun how the episodes work like that. If you're in the OPC app, you can easily see them and pick and choose. If you're in an Apple app, it kind of serves you in whatever order you're at. So there you go. But it's quite fun. We'll get into her thing. I actually, because of her, have been putting tofu in my breakfast. So yeah, This is the woman. This is the person who said. So Today is June 26th, 2025, and it's National Handshake Day. So finally a day that's not a fucking nightmare. If you listened to last week, this should be more uplifting. National Handshake Day. They always start with the thing, and it drives me crazy.
Every year on this day.
It's just like, it's like ChatGPT before it happened. National Handshake Day is celebrated on the last Thursday of June each year, falling on June 26th this year. And Yep, we covered that already. And we're glad that this common greeting is getting a place in the spotlight after all the years it has been around. Not only is the handshake the most universally recognized form of greeting, but it also has come to mean different things in different cultures, which is why learning more about it will come in handy, pun intended. Throughout history, and across different cultural contexts, the handshake has been practiced as an expression of peace or goodwill, and is almost like a common language that binds us together.
The world over.
It's a weird sentence.
Yeah.
It's no wonder then that we want to make a big deal about this innocuous gesture. Sociologically, the handshake has come to be a symbol of things hidden below the surface, as you can tell a lot about the person, the way they shake.
Handshake.
Yes. Perhaps for this reason, secret handshakes have also become popular, giving people a sense of belonging to a particular group. However, you view the handshake, one has to admit that it deserves its own day.
It sure does.
Just owing the sheer frequency of its use in our daily lives.
Yep. Sans COVID, when no one did any handshakes ever, it was the way.
Now everyone does fist bumps, or like people don't shake hands. Like there's like the germaphobes will never shake hands.
Yeah, never
I
again.
will be honest. I almost rather go for a hug than a handshake. Like I just feel kind of weird about it. Mostly with women, obviously. Second, I don't really.
Hi, friend.
Hi,
handshake.
friend. Also, I gotta be honest. I fucking hate a dead fish handshake, and I also. Do not give me the bunny hand like I'm going to kiss it. You know, some girls, like they give you their hand. They give you their hand like this, and then you're supposed to I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. I'm supposed to say, what am I supposed to do? Shake.
You're supposed to take it underneath and kiss their hand.
Yeah, but you're giving it to me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to kiss your hand.
What?
So
Why
not? No, not even yours. So but I was listening to Eliza Schlesinger's podcast, and she was talking about how she. Obviously, because she's got kids, and so she's always sick. She's like comedy shows, she's meeting people, and so they have rules about no hugging, no handshakes. And she's like, we used to shake hands to make sure the other person have a gun in it. So
we did.
That's what she said, and she's such a historian. You know,
I know what she's talking about.
Tell me.
In the Wild West, it was like the under the table situation. And also, you specifically you shook with the right hand only, because I think the left hand was used to wipe your ass.
Right, because it also assumed that most people are right-handed. And then you use right hand for your gun.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty sure
I'm left-handed.
Some historicity to that claim.
Yeah.
But anyway, lucky.
Everyone's
lucky,
left
yes,
hand.
you could definitely.
Everyone's left hand's just covered in shit back then.
I don't know. I don't think that's quite the same thing, but yeah.
Oh
maybe.
my God! Thank God we don't live back then, guys. It must have smelled like shit. just whenever I like look at like a castle situation, I'm like, this place reeked of shit.
Oh,
There's
I know.
no way.
Also, probably like ice freaking cold.
Oh, well, that and when we were at the one castle in Scotland, like everyone, including kids, was given like liquor every day because it helped kill the germs that were like in the water and the food or something like that. So, and most people were like, just not enough water for the peasants. They just drank.
I mean,
Anyways,
the king had a shithole in his throne.
yes, he did have a shithole in his throne. That's why they call it a throne. And in front of people, they would just get up and pick up their skirt and sit down on the toilet and take a pee or take a poop or whatever. But, anyways, and then besides the gangrene that was going on. Back to this.
Weird.
I will just say, I would love to shake your hand, but you got to shake it back. And also don't squeeze. The men who squeeze really hard to make sure I know that they're strong. It's like, well, now what I know you are is a dick. That's what I know. Like, there's a talent to the fucking handshake.
There's a lot you can know. All right, let's move on. So, upcoming events.
We're doing a lot very soon.
All right, stick with us here. Right now, it is June 26th. So, in just a few weeks, July 9, we're going to be hosting an Elevate workout and Q&A workshop. So, if you don't know what Elevate is, no biggie. That is Lesley's mentorship program for Pilates teachers, okay? It's a 9-month program. It's an amazing way for you to get to know the method more across all the different pieces of equipment, and it will 100% change your confidence. I mean, like night and day, dramatic difference. And it's perfect if you're a new teacher or you've been teaching for a really long time. This is a great program. We've been doing it for years, and it's probably our favorite program to run. We're going to be doing just a Q&A and a hang. So a workout, and you get to ask questions.
Some alumni will be there, and they'll answer your questions, and they're great. They do it out of the kindness of their heart. Like, that's why they come.
So go to lesleylogan.co/elevate waitlist.
So that's online.
Waitlist.
And that's live online. And then also live online on July 17th is Agency Mini.
That's right.
So Agency Mini number 11.
Profitable Pilates is back.
Mm-hmm. And it's prfit.biz/MINI. And it is a 3-day business coaching workshop. There will be 2 events that have live times on them, but you can obviously watch replays wherever you are. It's really, really great. Look, the summer is slow for most Pilates instructors, except for like the family travels, but it's a perfect time to work on your business and get your questions answered so that the last half of the year can be what you want it to be to set you up for next year. So prfit.biz/mini to get on the wait list, and that way you'll get the early bird pricing.
Yeah.
And then in person, we're coming out.
OPC Summer Tour kicks off July 25th in Phoenix. We're going to do a massive rectangle. We're going to do Phoenix to San Diego, all the way up the coast to Vancouver. That's right, into Canada. Then we're going to cut across through Calgary and then back down to Vegas from there. I don't know. I think it's like close to 5,000 miles, I think.
You are planning this, hon. People are like, where is this at? I'm like, I don't even know. It's today's. We're
19
announcing
stops.
Oh, whoa, 19.
Yeah.
This is almost as big as Winter Tour.
It is almost as big as Winter Tour.
But a little shorter, thank goodness, because I don't think I could do 2 full month-long tours. But this is good. And
this was a little over 3 weeks. So
it's
going to be amazing.
And we're going to Canada.
We're going into Canada. I'm excited. First time for us to
getting
tour
the dogs' paperwork ready to go into Canada and get them back in the States.
Yep. And then in September, we're getting on a plane.
Oh, did we tell them where to go? opc.me/tour.
Go to opc.me/tour. opc.me/tour.
And then, in September, we're getting on a plane. Yep. We're going to the UK. We have 2 cities in the UK. It's our mullet tour. And mullet means business in the front, Pilates in the back.
That's right.
And so we'll have a business workshop each day and then Pilates workshops each day. Don't worry, there's more Pilates workshops than business workshops. But UK, we got to help you out.
2/3 Pilates, 1/3 business. Don't worry.
Yes.
Don't worry.
And there's a workout. So you can get a 2-day pass at Leeds.
Yeah.
There's only 3 spots left. At the time we're recording this, don't know what that means when it drops in your ears.
It's true.
And then Essex, also space super limited, but we did open up day passes. So you can buy a Tuesday only pass or a Wednesday only pass.
Yeah.
And that
way,
you
can get both.
Or you can get both. You'll save if you buy both.
Yeah.
So opc.me/UK.
opc.me/UK. And then finally,
we're going to Cambodia in October.
We're heading back across the world, and we want you to come join us. It is obviously our favorite place to be.
We're going to go to Scotland. Yeah. Come home. Go to Chicago. Go to Cambodia.
Oh, yeah. We're going to POT in Chicago.
Yeah, we are. We'll tell them about that later.
About that.
They haven't announced that yet. So until they announce it, we can't announce it.
All right.
Cat's out of the bag.
Oops. Anyway, come with us. Go to crowsnestretreats.com, crowsnestretreats.com to come hang. I mean, I've already been on a bunch of conversations with people talking about it. I know people are worried about travel right now, international travel. especially with like the perception of Americans around the world due to our government making stupid decisions.
We actually have been treated very well. Most people are worried for us. So they're not like, they're mostly worried. And also like we've already gone there and come back during this administration and have had not any problems. So we don't anticipate any problems.
Yeah. So
we also did it during March of 2020 and the threat of getting in the country was real and we walked right in. So.
Yeah. I mean, the conversations I've been having with people haven't been that. The conversations have been more about like, is it going to be problems for Americans traveling? Honestly, I still think it just comes down to you being cool or being an asshole. If you're an asshole, you're going to have problems.
But also if you're an asshole, you're not listening to this podcast.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Pretty true.
So,
and also, I mean,
send this to an asshole.
Say, like,
send this episode.
I was actually even personally was worried about our Canada tour stops. I thought, will they sell? We have to spend so much money on lawyers to make sure we can do everything appropriately. And
we're almost already sold out in Vancouver.
Vancouver's almost sold out. So like, I will say, I actually think most people understand that the majority of us are not happy with how things are going. And we are not these people. So just you'll be.
Yeah, but it's also like the experiences that we've had during tumultuous times have not prohibited us from traveling. Right. So, we would encourage you to, get on a call with me. If you have any questions about it, or if you're worried about it, come join us. Cambodia is going to be epic.
Oh,
Trust me.
It's so beautiful. And also when we're there, because we've gone so many times during administrations like this, it is like the most, you're so relaxed. The news can't even really get to you because even if it does, you hear chickens and then you hear the birds and the parrots and you're sweating and the motos and you're like, I'm so far from that. Like that, there's nothing I can do about that while I'm here.
It's called a retreat for a reason.
It's really helpful. It's really helpful for your heart. I mean, I'm so relaxed when I come back.
I'm already getting warm, fuzzy feelings.
I know. So come, crowsnestretreats.com to snag your spot.
All right. And we did have an audience question this week. Thank you for sending this in. We had, I don't know how to say this, Ayele Tregev 6703 on YouTube asks, Hi. During a class, what kind of exercise would you offer to someone who can't do the teaser due to lower back issues? Well, great question. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. So first of all, the way I teach Pilates is that every exercise is going to be accessible to people at some point when they're ready. So my teacher, Jay Grimes, always said, you want to bring people up to an exercise, don't bring exercise down to body, right? So if someone has lower back issues and they can't do the teaser, I actually wouldn't modify the teaser necessarily for them. I would have them repeat an exercise that was safe for their back, that would build up their strength, their stamina, and their connections.
They should just quit.
Shut up. And that way, first of all, they can keep moving. And then second, it would be figuring out like, is this lower back issue permanent? Is this like a chronic issue? It's never going to go away. This is what
surgery,
it is. And so then it's like, should they even be doing flexion at all? Can they do teaser with their feet on the wall? Should they just always do something else? Or is it just that they have a tight back and it's just not ready for it yet? Because then we can roll like a ball into teaser and roll like a ball into teaser, right? And that's a great way of doing it. So what I think is really important is there isn't one way to answer this question because I don't know who we're talking about.
It's true. It is true. That's a little tough, but I do think, the whole idea as a non-Pilates teacher here, the whole idea of Pilates is that it's a system.
Yeah.
Right. And what I know from sitting on the sidelines and watching the elevators come through our house, literally our house, and work things out, is that if they can't do teaser because they're just not there yet, that's okay. It's totally okay. They don't need to do teaser. Right? It's not like, teaser to me is like handstand in yoga. It's not necessarily like changing your world. It's part of a system. It's one of the poses that you want to get to it eventually. But if you can't do teaser, it doesn't mean you can't do Pilates, right? So, if you take that approach to it, you as a teacher can help them get to that pose over time. And you can help them get to that. If that's their goal, that's fine, but there might be other things that you want to take them to first because of their lower back issues.
Yeah. And first of all, well said, babe.
Thanks.
So many people are like, go, Brad. But I think like, here's the thing. Clients come to a class and you specifically about a class. And so everyone thinks like, oh, everyone in the class is doing the exact same thing. Like I was talking to someone in Elevate. They're like, oh, but I need everyone to like do it at the same time because then it looks really good. And I was like,
we could skip all that.
we don't care what it looks like. As a form of beauty, I care, are they connected?
Right. We're not synchronized swimming here.
Yeah. And so if that's the way you're teaching your classes, some people will like that. But to be completely honest, a lot of people are not going to actually get the benefits of Pilates in that fashion, in that form. So it's really important.
The 1980s are calling. They want their synchronized workouts back.
Yeah. So this is how I always started every class. Not every exercise is going to be for you. So when in doubt, leave it out. It's actually brave and courageous to replace what you can't do yet with something that you can, something that you did that was challenging.
Sure.
Right. And if you need specific assistance with an exercise, we can talk about it. We can give options at the end of class that you can use. And so with this person with lower back issues, maybe they need to take a private or stay after class one day to figure out what is their teaser. So maybe it is a modified teaser, but maybe it's actually double straight leg stretch. Or maybe it's that they do swimming instead, right? What is it that they do? And then that way they're empowered to be autonomous and independent. And I promise you, you will survive people doing different things at the same time because they're going to feel so good and they're going to come and go, that was the best class. And it's going to make you love what you're doing because now you're actually affecting real change in them and not just like, well, let's just bend their knees and now they can do it.
Sure.
Right? That's a Rachel Taylor Siegel. I highly recommend everybody watches Tailor Made on Pilates Anytime. You can use Logan for a 30-day trial. It's in the Legacy Project. And when I learned from Rachel Taylor Siegel, she said, let's talk about modifications. She said, modifications are like borrowing money from the bank. Some loans have higher interest rates than other loans, right? So if you get an SBA loan, you're looking at a couple percent, like real low. And so it's really easy to pay that loan off over time. In fact, that loan allows your business to grow. And so that kind of a loan is like going not just accelerate you, but just strengthen your business. It's going to allow you to create a really good foundation, right? Versus a payday loan. Those like 40% interest loans.
Sure.
Or 30% interest loans. Or the credit cards. The ones we get in the mail with our amazing credit score. And it's like, why would I sign up for this 35% credit card?
I know.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, I did get one for $29.99. Or 30. It was like
that's like
it was
when
like
I was
shocking.
in college. In college when I had no credit.
Oh,
that's what
I never saw one that high ever.
I guess that's true. I think it was like 18%.
They were like 20%. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, they're stealing from you." Now they're at like 30 and it's normal. I'm like, "Holy cow." Yeah,
you'll know. Yeah, so
bananas.
But so just take that bananas and then think about that as a modification for an exercise.
Sure.
So now we're stealing from them. Now we're actually not providing them with the ability to ever not need that modification. In fact, they will have to keep, just like those payday loans.
Never not. So they will always need the modification.
Yeah, like, well, if you'd let me finish my sentence, it was going to be just like the people with the payday loans. Once, what I've understood is why they're so bad is that once you need them, you automatically need the next one and the next one because now you're like
stuck.
You're stuck and you're in debt. So, my dear, thank you for this question. I hope it gave you something to think about. If you're an OPC member and you have a lower back issue, you can actually film yourself doing an exercise. And actually, it could be any issue, but you can film yourself doing an exercise and I can give you feedback on it. We don't answer client questions in OPC because it's all about you. Right. So there's that. But if you guys have questions, go to beitpod.com/questions to send in your win or your questions. We'll answer them here and we'll shout your wins out on Friday. beitpod.com/questions.
Stick around. We'll be right back. We're going to dig into that convo with Kate Galli. Okay, let's talk about Kate Galli. Kate is a health coach, author, and podcast host who is passionate about helping vegans and plant-based curious people live with strength, confidence, and joy. After years of working in both fitness and in the mindset space, Kate now helps others create meaningful lifestyle changes by aligning their health goals with their values. She's the creator of Strong Body, Green Planet and host of the Healthification podcast, where she shares strategies for powerful, compassionate living. Through her signature ABC method, Kate focuses on building habits that not only feel good, but also do good for the mind, for the body, and for the planet.
Okay, I thought she was so cool because, first of all, a lot of what she is talking about with her journey of being a vegan and then where she's at now, there's a lot of be it till you see it in like being vegan curious or plant-based curious. I think a lot of us could lend ourselves to, at least if you're not going to go full vegan, considering like what changes you can make for the planet.
Sure.
I think we all have to be considerate of that. You also have to be considerate of your body and what you're allergic to and all those things. So don't at me, I can't eat that because I got this allergy. I see you. Okay. In fact, Kate sees you because she's not an angry vegan anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was like, I actually, I'm not going to lie. Like I was listening to it. I was like, okay, you know, I'm in. And then she shared her story and I was like, wow. You know, if you haven't gone back and listened to the episode, it is gut-wrenching and powerful. And she says it quickly, relatively quickly, but it's worth a listen. So go back and take a listen to Kate's story.
I think the cadence of this episode coming out after Stephanie O'Day's Slow Living episode is really important because there's a couple things that I'm thinking about with Kate that kind of can go back to Stephanie. First of all, you cannot shame or judge yourself into a goal, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and
Nor can you shame others into a goal.
correct. And Kate said, we get this drive and this focus and this purpose. We just go and we go and we go. And she's like, it's effective until it isn't. And that's the same thing that like Stephanie was saying, like we like want to go like so fast, but like things will happen in time. And so she transformed in this like angry vegan. And then she became more compassionate because she realized her approach was actually not effective in convincing anyone. In fact,
Also, she was like fried emotionally.
yes.
Like so fried. She was like, I can't even be the angry, you know, like person that I was anymore. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do
And
it.
I think like how many of us have been like so passionate about something that we get angry. I know I do. I know I do not talk politics with some of my family members because I get so angry that they cannot see the perspective that I see it from. I just can't. I like literally, I'm just like, I'm missing out on that part of my life because I need to figure this out for myself because I cannot be compassionate in this moment.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm giving myself for permission. That's okay. But I think it's like she really where she was able to change to is being a lot more compassionate. And then that allowed her to be more helpful in helping other people see ways that they can become vegan or ways that they can make things a little bit more plant-based or just change the way that they want to work out so that now it's almost like it's like you can't get bunny like bees without honey, like that kind of a thing. Right?
Yeah, you did mention that on the interview and then you apologized for all the vegans out there who aren't necessarily into honey.
I know.
I had a good laugh about that.
Well, some are not okay with honey.
Yes, no, it's you're not wrong, but I just thought it was a really funny analogy in the moment. But you're right. You get more bees with honey than you do, without. So it's the kind of like the kill them with kindness kind of an approach. And I think
I really hated that growing up. My mom always said, "Gotta kill them with kindness," and I'm like, that's not working.
But she talked about the frustration with the relationship with her father and how like she was able to learn from her mom, and how her mom's approach shifted her own approach, out and about in the world.
Yeah. And I also want to say, because she said, whatever we care about yelling at people about how wrong they are is never going to get them to want to join us. I just want you to know that like, I still believe you should protest because it's not about convincing the person driving by. It's about convincing the politicians we're protesting against. So I just want to say protests matter, but
yeah, they do.
But if your neighbor isn't seeing how the way they're voting or the way that they're eating or the way that they're, mowing their lawn in the middle of the night is affecting things that you care about, yelling at them isn't going to get them to stop. You do have to figure out, you have to understand a little bit more about why they think the way they think or why they do the way they do. So you can actually have a compassionate conversation that allows them to see how what you're trying to offer them is going to help the same goal that they have.
That's actually really interesting. And I wonder about the etymology of these words here now, because I was thinking passion doesn't necessarily equal anger, even though it's associated with high energy. And then you just said the word compassion, which is more in line with what we want. Compassion still includes the word passion. So,
Do you ever want to take like
etymology.
etymology class? I want to take a handwriting class. I don't teach kids anymore, but I want to learn. And I want to take an etymology class.
Well, so, but like you can still be passionate without being angry. You can be compassionate and have passion, So I think, shifting her approach sounds to me like it's made her more effective, and it sounds like just a happier person.
Yeah. She is so lovely.
So good for her.
And I will say, like, ever since I've talked with her, I've been really more thoughtful about, well, what are we eating? Do we need to eat that? How do I get 150 grams of protein a day?
Yeah.
If I'm not having chicken, what does that look like?
Well, I love that you were digging into how to get protein. You were talking about on the episode.
Yeah, I asked her. I was like, I need help.
Like, what do I do? What's a side? What's a dessert? How do we do this? And she did make the parallel between, like, let's say there's like a muscle dude at the gym, and if he decides to go plant-based, switching from like steaks to, she said he's got to be eating something comparable in, that's going to fill him up, or he will just lose weight. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But there are ways to do it. And that's what that's when the conversation really went down that rabbit hole, which in a good way. It was
many bodybuilders who are plant-based. Like,
Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
Our friend Eddie is like 6'3".
Yeah.
And was like a football player in the, he's
I think it's just a be it till you see it. You have to like
in the military. Guy's a beast.
Yeah.
Was a vegan for, I don't know, I think 7 or 8 years, like solid. But he would eat like half a freaking lasagna a night,
Right. You have to get calories. Well, and that's all kinds of calories. But I think it's just being intentional. And I think why I wanted to have her on is it's a be it till you see it approach. Like,
sure.
She has those baby steps, which allows you to kind of like figure it out.
Well, when she was talking about the ABC method, I thought it was pretty clever. She said when she was going through this personal transformation, she came up with this method that helped her prioritize her happiness and find a more effective way to pursue her purpose. More effective, meaning people would listen. And she said, moving from angry, which was ineffective, to compassionate, which is effective. Her method is called the ABC method. And so A stands for awareness, B stands for brainstorm, and C stands for commitment. So she's, awareness, she's recognizing the negative trajectory of continuing down her current path. B, she's brainstorming, identifying ways to stop the habits that she used to do. And specifically, she was talking about posting on Instagram, like posting angry stories, setting herself up to be attacked, even though she believes very strongly in these things. And then she shifted and she said, I wonder if instead of sharing all the negative stories, I could share positive stories and see how that would have an impact. Right. So she began sharing happy stories and making vegan recipes, sharing vegan recipes that actually taste amazing to, present an option that instead of creating shame and like frustration, trying to guilt people into, whatever, instead it's like, hey, did you know that it can actually be amazing?
Yeah.
Did you know that it can taste awesome? And so she started sharing recipes, and she said her third step is commitment, making a public commitment to the new approach, drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, I'm making this decision. So good for her. I love that ABC method. I thought it was clever. I thought it was a great way to like actually create a line in the sand of your life and be like, I've made this decision to change this thing.
I think it can be used for so many things. Her ABC method, it's just great. And it's also part of like how we learn.
Yeah.
It's from the mindset training that I did. It's very aligned with like how people's mindsets can be changed. Loved it. Love it all.
Awesome. Well, stick around. We'll be right back. We're going to dig into those be it action items. Welcome back. We're going to get into these be it action items with Kate Galli. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Kate? She said, if you want to make it easy to incorporate plant-based proteins into your meals, she shares she's got a 5S strategy, okay? She describes it as a way of setting it into your meals. Here are the 5 S's. Star, scatter over, stir through, side, and source. What does this mean? Star means plant-based protein is the main component of the meal, meaning lentils in a curry or marinated tofu. So you've got your star ingredient, effectively. That's what the star means. Scattering over, by adding plant-based protein sources such as hemp seeds or pumpkin seeds over your regular meal. So once you've got your meal, you can put something on top of it, and that also adds more protein. You can stir it through, mixing plant-based protein powder, say that 5 times fast, into a meal or a drink. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. Think about like a smoothie in the morning or soup or cereal.
Even I put protein in my coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah.
I'm trying to get so much protein in. I put it in my coffee with my creatine and my fiber, guys, because, like, that's just a hard thing to get
collagen.
to. Yeah, I put it all in there. And it's in my tasty coffee. And it's actually gotten me to stop going out to get coffee because they won't have what I need to put in it. And I got to put all this in it. So
that's true. You can also have it as a side, having a portion of a plant-based protein on your side, such as edamame or crispy chickpeas. And I know you're a huge fan of crispy chickpeas. We literally got some after this interview.
I'm obsessed with crispy chickpeas. And I wonder how we can make it ourselves. I'm sure we could just do it in the air fryer. It is, you guys, 50 chickpeas is like 10 grams of protein or something like that. Maybe it's only 6, but I think it's 10. At any rate, it's like 2 handfuls. And you're fuller than if you had snacked on some chips.
Right.
And I got all my
it's
salts.
Also not, it's not like it's not bad for you like,
No.
deep fried chips or something.
And it's good for the environment. I can't have potatoes. So I have been over here going, I just want a snack. I want a little munchie. And I can have
you got
those.
them. Crispy chickpeas. All right. And then source. Finally, the last S is source, using sauces made with protein-rich ingredients, which could include like silken tofu, or you could put edamame inside the guacamole.
Yes. Where is what town did we used to get that guacamole that had edamame?
Oh, it was.
It's so good.
They have one.
Oh, True Food.
True Foods. That's
True
right.
Food. Yeah, and then they mess with those chips. So annoying.
I know.
But the edamame with the guac with edamame is there, and it's
pretty
great.
tasty. I dig it. But yeah, what about you?
Okay, she said if you haven't figured out what your personal values are, you need to, because you got to elicit them. She said your values are the emotional states you're naturally drawn to, like love, freedom, truth, or integrity. And so when you are planning your day or making decisions, like your values are these filters for those things.
Sure.
And you need to align them with your most important goal or vision. And so even more importantly, align them with your daily actions. We actually talk about values a lot in agency. Talk about it a lot in our business coaching retreats and things like that. And so I love this. In fact, I just led a values webinar for agency members. They'll be in the curriculum. So you can figure out what are your values, because it's like, well, how do you choose them? Like I have to have names for it. What is it? So agency members can check that out. But I love this big action. I elicit your own personal values if you haven't yet. Kate Galli.
It's funny. I thought it was interesting to compare this to a business, right? We talk about this for business owners. You got to know your mission, vision, values. I never thought about it once about my personal values.
What?
Yeah.
Brad? Really?
Well, in the same way, I've never been like, here are my 5 values that matter the most to Brad. I always think about it through the lens of my company first. So I thought it was interesting.
We got to do that. You got to do the exercise.
We got to do the exercise, yo. I got to sprinkle in some values.
Well,
I'm sourcing them now, but I'm going to sprinkle them in.
I actually
scattering them over.
It won't be that complicated because, we have different values, but my values were how the business's values came about. They were they're not exactly the same, but it's like another word for it that would be more business-like than what my personal values are.
Yeah.
But I think that you get to do the exercise. Keep us posted on your Be It Action I Am, babe.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for being here. How are you going to use these tips in your life? We want to know. We want to know what your takeaways are. We want you to send them in to thebeitpod.com/questions.
Yes.
Share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. That's how this podcast continues to grow, so we can continue getting amazing guests.
And if you haven't yet, leave us a 5-star review.
Yes,
please.
Because that is like a gift. That's a major
gift.
I know it's hard to do. I know it's hard to figure out where to do it.
Yeah.
But if you could just do it, because here's the deal. we want to get some amazing guests, but we actually have to tell them where our podcast stands.
Yep.
Because people are busy and they want to know if it's even worth their time.
Yep.
And so every download matters, but also so do the
every
reviews.
time you share the episodes, it matters. Every time. We're so grateful. So thanks for doing all that.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at beitpod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.